morning. Hello, hello. So, it's another very nice Saturday. A little bit cloudy over here in Hawaii, but not too bad. Sorry, I was a little bit late because, of course, like when you have something that you need to do, something somehow just happened. You wake up late and then somehow you unplug the internet. So I try to log in, but I cannot connect. So I realized I unplugged the internet by accident. But anyway, I'm here. Hi, I'm Anatai. I'm the author of the book Eat to Focus, and I'm actually live right now on both Facebook and also on Instagram. Hi, everyone. So I was thinking, so usually, like you notice that on my little promotion post about this live thing, I don't have a specific topic. So usually it's the night before or maybe days before I think about what's something interesting to talk about. And I was thinking the last few times I've been talking about food and things like that, even though that's a totally appropriate topic for me to talk about because I'm a registered dietitian, of course, I talk about food all the time. But I just thought that um, today I want to talk about something different since I see a lot of kids all the time at work. I'm also a board certified specialist in pediatric dietitian and just want to talk about today. I want to talk about parenting kids with ADHD, or maybe not just kids with ADHD, but kids with special needs or things like that in that similar category. And just from my own experience as a parent, and also my own experience as a pediatric dietitian working with a lot of kids and the parents. So, um, hold on one second. Yeah, so I want to talk about that. So I'm not I'm not a professional like psychologist or parenting expert, but I just want to talk a little bit about that because like I've been doing what I do for like 20 something years, and I work with a lot of like other pediatric specialists, medical specialists together, and also psychologists. I hang out with the psychologists at work. So and then being a parent, like I deal with a lot of the things that probably a lot of you deal with. But yeah, so okay, let me take a breath. So yeah, so parenting with kids. Oh, maybe I'll just start with my own story, and then I'll tell you about stories of my patients. Okay, sorry, my hair's good because I just literally wake up. Um, yeah, so my own parenting story. So when my daughter was born, just like everyone else, right? She's my firstborn and my only child. Like everything is so nice, so happy, right? Because you kind of suffer through your pregnancy and think that, oh yeah, when the baby's born, everything will be perfect. I think that's what everyone often think, right? Like when when you get married, get pregnant, have the kid, you're gonna have the perfect kid. You will not be like those parents who yell at your kids. Like you'll be the best parents, and your kids will be like this sweet, cute little angel who's just perfect, right? So yeah, that's the thought, of course. And then when she was born, everything's still fine, like normal baby stuff, right? And we're like, oh, cool, yeah, be piece of cake. And then as she get older, it's it's really when she start moving around that was like, oh my god, like what we get ourselves into, right? So she start walking. She start walking really early, but we're like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then she start walking, then she start climbing. She was on furnitures, all the chairs, all the sofas, and the desk and the table, and then So she's all over the place. And then oh, and then even when she's not on top of the table or anything, she's pulling everything off. We didn't know. We only thought like baby proving your home means covering all the corners and things that she can hit on. But it also actually means that all your expensive stuff needs to be put away too because she's just grabbing anything that she can reach her arms and pull, it comes off and breaks. I was like, oh, that's what people means when babies are expensive, because they're breaking all your stuff. Like she'll put random stuff into like different appliances and things like that, taking my phone away and it'll disappear for days, things like that. So anyway, so that's part of it. I was like, oh yeah, that's how babies are. Then I realized it's not. Some babies are not like that. But anyway, um, and then because I went back to work, both me and my husband both work, so we have to take her to a daycare. It was crazy. Like okay, um, it was crazy because she would just cry. Like she cries all the way from the time we wake her up in the morning, try to get her out of her pajamas and drop her off to daycare, right? So she'll cry all the way for like maybe an hour or so, and we just have no idea what's going on. She has a speech delay too, so we can't even ask her or she can't say anything. And back then, when she was young, that was like what 21 years ago. No one talked about like, oh yeah, teach your kids sign language, right? So we just like deal with it. And then when she gets to the daycare, she'll continue to cry. Oh, by the way, so we can get her out of her pajama, right? So we almost every morning we have to get her change of clothes with her and her shoes, drop her off in the daycare in her pajama, like talking about embarrassing, right? Like two grown person cannot get a child to change out of her clothes. So at the daycare, the daycare ladies are super nice. So they'll just change her. They take her from me, and they're like, "Oh, mom, it's okay. Don't worry." She usually cry for another 20 minutes, and then she stops. I was like, "Oh my god, another 20 minutes!" Like I was like, "God bless you guys. Like you guys are the best." So that's dropping off. Then coming home is another ordeal because she started crying again. So she'll start crying from the moment I pick her up from daycare. Like usually kids will be so happy to see the parents come pick them up, right? Like, no, she's not. She's like, oh my God, mom's here. I don't want to go. This place is so fun. So she'll start crying again all the way back home. And yeah, I was like, I don't know what's wrong with this kid, but is that is that normal? Like because it's my first child, I have no one else to compare to, and I didn't even ask my mom or anything. But I was like, okay, I'll just deal with her. And then eventually, I get to a point that I was like, this is killing me. Okay, actually, I shouldn't say that. I was like, oh my god, I need help. So I went and I start looking for books. So okay, I think this is when Amazon was just starting to become popular. So, but anyway, somehow I found a book called Difficult Child. So that's kind of like all these things happens before I started this natural alternative ADHD treatment blog. But yeah, so I start reading this book and then I I was like, oh, I guess my daughter is kind of normal. It's just that she have her own temperament. So I read this book like 10, no, 20 something years ago, right? So I don't really remember everything. But the temperament, so every child, according to the psychologist who wrote this book, there's 8 temperaments of everyone or every child. And I can't remember. But if you're interested, you can go check out that book. But basically, pretty much what I learned from that book is my child is different in her own way. So I kind of have to learn to tune into her needs and into her temperament. I think the word temperament probably means something similar to personalities. So So I did learn a few things, like as a parent, as a brand new parent, um, who don't even have very good parents to model from, right? So I learned, so one thing is I always have to let her know if we're going to places, instead of just stopping whatever she's doing and tell her, stop watching TV or stop doing this because we need to go here. I need to give her time, like advance notice. So if we're going to be going to a place, we're just going to tell her, I usually give her like, if I can, I give her 30 minutes advance notice, if not 10 minutes. I'll start reminding her, hey, we're going to go here. So in 10 minutes, please get ready. So I have to keep reminding her that in 10 minutes or in 20 minutes, she's going to switch activities. So that helps. The other thing that I also learned is what's that thing? Like how to talk to your kids, right? So a lot of times, this is how most parents do. I made that mistakes too, and I've seen that in a lot of my patients' family as well. So like if your kids like trying to put the finger into the wall socket instead of don't touch that, all they hear is the word touch. That's what the kids do. You're like, I just told you don't touch it. Why you keep touching it? Because you keep saying the word touch. So they don't understand not the word not. They only say, oh, mommy says touch, touch. So they don't have that concept when they're little. Their language, remember, when kids are little, their language skills is not quite developed. So they only understand feelings. So when you say don't touch, all they hear is touch, touch. So instead of saying don't touch, you should say, okay, go do something else, or, or play with the doll, or come over here, something like that. So something that they could understand. And then, yeah, so using not using the negative. And I think I don't know what else I learned from that. But anyway, that's something that I want to bring up is there is help out there. So you just need to kind of find it. But yeah, and then the other thing is I think from what I learned from other parents, so I work in a big um, military hospitals with a lot of specialists. So we see a lot of kids who have like very special um, medical needs, like kids who have a like specialists. Like so, so I learned a lot from that because parenting a kid with special needs is different. Like you just need to remember that a lot of the parenting advice out there might work, but a lot of times it doesn't work when your child have like special needs. Like I've read a lot of your posts in inside the Facebook group. A lot of it has to do with like the ADHD and the behaviors, like the angry outbursts, the emotional meltdown, and things like that. Like 20 years ago, or maybe over 10 years ago, maybe not that long, when I started doing this alternative, this natural ADHD treatment block, I never read anything, like, never really read anything so much about the anger and the emotional thing and the depression and stuff like that associated with ADHD. Like, very pure and simple before was if you have ADHD, it's mostly with the hyperactivity and the inattentiveness, yeah, inattentiveness and impulsivity. Not so much about the other psychological things, but it seems like as more and more people are aware of ADHD and the diagnosis, more of the other stuff start to flow out and people start talking more about it. It's probably is there before, but maybe no one was aware, not talking about it. But if you look at it, ADHD, the symptoms, those symptoms of inactivities, lack of focus, hyperactivity, and the impulsiveness is all just symptoms, right? It's like, okay, you eat some food that you're not supposed to, your skin start itching, but then you're like, okay, but we don't give you a diagnosis because of your itchy skin. We're like, oh yeah, the itchy skin is because you ate something that caused that itchiness, and that's called food allergy. But with ADHD, it's more like just the symptoms a diagnosis all based on physical symptoms. To me, it's kind of well, it's okay, I guess, but we just have to understand that the ADHD symptoms are symptoms that have an underlying cause, and that underlying cause might have nothing to do with the ADHD or anything. So, and in my book or in my blog, you see that I talk about like I think 5 or 6 different causes of ADHD, and none of them, some of them are quite related, but basically, if you look at those conditions, like really have nothing to do with the focus or any attention or things like that. It's more of a, again, the diagnosis of ADHD is just a it's just a what's the word? Or a label. It's just a label to say that okay, you have these symptoms, but it doesn't link it to the causes, and that's the reason why, like I kind of don't like the ADHD medication because I see so many patients, and that's really part of the reason I started this whole blog and everything is I see so many kids with ADHD just like have so much side effects with the medication, and I didn't want my daughter to be one of them. Like so I started this with seeing a lot of kids with ADHD. Like that's how really I started is seeing all these kids with ADHD all coming to me for the same reason. They're not gaining weight because the ADHD medication suppressed their appetite so much that they just kind of stop eating during, especially during lunchtime. So I see a lot of those kids, and then I was like, oh, I really don't wish that on my child. And it's not just the appetite part too, right? A lot of these kids actually tell me that they don't like themselves when they're on the medication because it changes their personality. If you notice, if you're a parent here or if you're someone with ADHD, like you know that people with ADHD have very creative personalities. They're creative in a sense that um, they might be an artist or they may be really good at solving problems, and they also have a very bubbly personalities. Like I almost, well, once in a while I meet someone with ADHD who also have autism, but that's different. But other than that, people with ADHD have a very nice personality. It's just very nice to hang out around with them because I guess like part of it is that when you're when you're growing up kind of different and you know that you're different, your friends, family kind of treat you differently, you kind of have that feeling that, oh, whatever, I just do whatever. They're gonna like treat me like not that nice anyway, so why care? So we kind of like part of it is a little bit self-sabotaging, like, okay, like screw me, like I'm not the best anyway, I'm not good enough. I'll just do whatever. So and and some of us kind of feel like failure part of us too, right? Like now I think about it, actually I start having this thought a few days ago. I was like, oh yeah, growing up I do get like singled out a lot, like often get caught or punished for talking in school and stuff like that. But then I was like, it's so strange. I often thought that I was a quiet person because I don't really have a lot of friends growing up, but then when I think about it, oh yeah, I did get punished quite a few times in school for talking in class, and it's like I don't even know what I was talking about. But anyway, I'm sure like everyone have experience like that. Um, yeah, people like to talk. And the other thing, okay, let's talk more about like specifically parenting kids with ADHD. So what I notice a lot is okay, maybe I'll start with what I observe. What I observe in a lot of parents with kids with ADHD, I think is the one of the biggest mistakes, and maybe not intentionally. We, we all do it as we all do it because we love our kids, but we just don't know that what we do can kind of hurt them and hurt us too. One of the things that I notice a lot is that the parents actually focus so much on the kids' ADHD symptoms, like the lack of focus, the hyperness, and all of that stuff. And then they freaked out because that's not the norm, right? The norm of society is that the child, and I don't even know who decide what this normal is, right? The normal is that your child's gonna sit in a class for hours, not speak a word, and just listen and take notes and absorb everything. That's not normal. Even though our society try to tell us that's normal, but it is not. And that's the kind of school that I grew up in. I grew up in a Catholic school, and all I remember is we're taught at very little young age that when we walk together in a class, we all have to walk in single file. We follow instructions. We sit. We don't speak. I don't even know if my teachers ever ask if we have any questions. Like we just have to just listen to the adults and not challenge them. And yeah, we're teach to be robots. And I think like I appreciate that I have a great education from this Catholic school, but I think that the service that I got, and even like students with that kind of system, is that we'll learn to not speak up. And now training as a hypnotherapist, I learned so much about like um, parenting and psychology and stuff like that. A lot of us grow up to become adult who doesn't speak up or afraid to speak up because we're like, first of all, growing up, I'm not allowed to speak up because if ever I talk in the class, I get punished. And then I'm also not allowed to speak up because every time I ask for something from my parents, it's always a no. So why even speak up? So those are the kind of things that we learn growing up. And so one of the things is I think I want to talk about what parenting kids with ADHD is like the expectations as a parent, right? Like I said, my daughter um, is now 21 years old, so I think I can speak from my own experience a little bit. Is your expectations of your child. Like, I think I freaked out when she was growing up, like, kind of acting kind of wild, and I was like, oh my God. And then I tried to compare her to what my image of a perfect child should be, right? And then I was like, oh my gosh, she's all over the place. She can't focus. When we're in tennis match, all she wants is just joke around. But then, but the thing is, there's really nothing wrong with your child, but more so your parental expectations. Because when you have that idea that your child have ADHD, you keep looking for signs, right? To to prove that the ADHD diagnosis is right. So rather than thinking, oh, my child have ADHD, how can I help my child? How can I bump down those symptoms? But what I notice is a lot of parents focus on the symptoms, try and look, oh, my child so in focus, my child so have no like have no ability to sit down, can hold keep their hands to themselves. So I think, oh yeah, so that's what I want to really focus on is talking about the expectations of the parents. Um, like if you read my story, I pretty much learned the hard way. I do all the wrong things as a parent. And then when my daughter was 5 years old, we get divorced. So I'm like parenting by myself. So it's all trial and error. Like I really feel sorry for my child, like being my guinea pig all these years, and I try to be the best parents I can by myself. Her dad is out of the picture. He's like a nutso, so let's not talk about that. But but yeah, so I have to figure this whole parenting out. My mom's not help either. She never even give me advice because growing up she was hardly ever there. Like I don't even know who brought me up growing up. So I just try to do my own thing, try to figure it out. And then I'm sure I damaged my child a lot, so I probably have to do some therapy with her later on. But it's all good. And then and yeah, there's a lot of crying, a lot of yelling. I don't feel too proud of myself about. But then it almost takes like 10 years. It's almost around like when she's almost 10 years old. And I kind of figured it out somehow. like, I, like, again, I feel embarrassed about that because it took me 10 years. But you know what? Someone have to learn it and then teach it to other people, right? So Yeah, so it kind of started. So it's her behaviors. She's always like have that difficult personality. But then now I realize that it is not her being difficult. It's just me have different expectations of her. So it is not her fault. And now I was like, I shouldn't tell her that she's difficult. She's a good child. It's just me being a new parent trying to figure my way around being to provide for my child. And then and along with that, she's also a super, super, super picky eater. So that kind of freaked me out, right? Because you all know, all parents you out there know that when you're the parent and your child doesn't eat, that's like life sentence for you, right? Because you get so sensitive as a parent that, oh my God, my child's not eating. Because parents' job have a few job, right? One is to making sure that our child eat. And you see all these people around you and all these other kids, you put in front of them, they eat everything. But then my child, I put all this food in front of her, she dig around a little bit. I was like, oh, I'm done. Like that one upset your ego. So that's a parenting problem. And then two, it upsets you because you spend all this time making this meal thinking that she's going to eat it because she ate it the day yesterday. So why didn't she eat it today again? So I often have to remind parents that, and this is the mistake I make and the mistakes I see what other parents make is the expectations. When you have an expectations that doesn't match your reality, that's what gets you upset. And with kids, we need to understand where they're coming from. And I think no one ever tell us that our kid is not our miniature version of us and they're not a miniature adult either. So their thinking process, their biochemistry in the body is all very different. You kind of have to look at them as like an alien who just landed on this earth. Everything is brand new to them. They don't understand what food is. They don't understand politeness. They don't understand. They don't do certain things out in public. And the other thing is, even though they understand some of the words that you're telling them, that doesn't mean that they understand every words that you said as an adult. They they are learning the world and the earth and everything around them from their own perspective, which is a blank slate with no previous understanding, no previous knowledge. And like the other day, yeah, one of the reasons why I want to talk about parenting today is because I think it was just yesterday. Just yesterday, I saw this kid who's supposedly to be a super, super picky eater, and then the mom is super frustrated. She have all these specialists all lined out, early intervention, feeding therapy, nothing works. She's gonna see the GI and she's gonna get developmental pediatrician do an evaluation to check for sensory processing disorder and everything. So when I was talking to mom, so basically she didn't even want to be there, but it's just like checking off the box, like, oh yeah, the doctor said I need to come see the nutritionist, but I don't really see the point because we've been doing feeding therapy for a while and nothing works. The only thing is, well, I get him to just lick some food and that's about it. So we stopped, and basically her, I think part of the child's being picky is her attitude because she mentioned many things that is a red flag to me. First is she forced the child to eat, she'll I'll be screaming at him for like 30 minutes just to get him to eat 2 bites of food, and then like meal times like 60 minutes long because he just like not wanting to eat. And then there's all these things that she said is like the things that I would recommend parents to do the opposite of to get the child to eat. So, and she's like, yeah, and I try to talk to him and explain to him why he needs to eat and all those. He's 3 years old. You cannot give a lecture to a 3 years old. So this is how kids work. If you want your kids to listen, in the from the age or from the time your child is born, 0 all the way to 6 years old, your child's language skills is very minimal. They can talk, they can say a few words, maybe they can write, but um, I think that might not be even too natural. That's why, like in Sweden, kids don't learn to start writing till like writing and reading to 7 years old. But anyway, the first 6 years, your child language skills is really minimal. So for you to try to talk to your child and explain your child, like giving them all the scientific facts and how many kids die in Africa because they don't have food, so you shouldn't waste with all those. It goes all out of the back of the brain. They understand a few things because they understand the feelings. So first 6 years of a child's life, they learn the world through feelings. So that's why when you see that when your kids when they're still little, when they fall down on the ground or hurt themselves or something, they really don't understand what that means. They often look at you as the parents and like, is it okay? Like, am I okay? Like, but if your child fell on the ground and look at you and you're freaking out, that's how they learn. Oh my God, I fell off the ground or I fell off my bike. And that's how they learn the world from. If I just fall on the ground and my parents freaked out, I have to freak out too because that's not good, right? But on the other hand, he or she fell down and then you're like, just go over to him or her and say, hey, are you okay? Like just calmly. And it's like, are you okay? And then your child look up like, oh, okay, my mom and my dad did freaked out, so this is normal. So I'll get back up and keep riding my bike. And I think that's something that I learned a lot later. Um, I learned a little bit too in the beginning, but it takes me a while. But yeah, so that's not just in the area of um, like just falling off the bike and stuff like that. But I think as parents, we carry our own fear and anxiety of our life and translate that into our kids. Um, like when my daughter was older, I think she's in middle school, yeah, intermediate and middle school. It's just the stress of homework. Like, as a parent, we often put our our what you call that self-worth or how good we are as a parent based on our kids, right? So if our kids doesn't do well in school, it's our fault. We're not a good parent. So yeah, I have a lot of those pressure too growing up because okay, raised as a Chinese, you know how much we put on education. Like you, in order to be a good person, you have to go into a good school, have good grades, have a good job, good paying job, all those things. Like it's expectations. Again, it's society expectations, and you kind of unconsciously, subconsciously put it on yourself, and then you put it on your child. So yeah, all of those little expectations that I have to learn to undo. Like my daughter went to private school, and there's so much homework, and I freaked out as a parent because part of it is it's not even me trying to to like um worry that she can't do it, but it's more me don't want to fail as a parent. So that's the anxiety that I have. And then I kind of put her in a situation and making her feel bad that, hey, why are you taking so long to do your homework? But not realizing that maybe it's not her fault. It's the problem with the school, and I should be talking to the teachers. Yeah, that's definitely my fault. I didn't talk to the teacher and tell her, you're giving my kids too much homework. Yep, that's good. We talk about it and I figured out. Yeah, so she went to this school. I have a lot of homework. And then she actually went to another private school, an even better one. So when she went to this second and the last private school, that's when I start to chill and leave her alone. Because I was like, because this is a really, really good school. Like, in order to get in, like, you gotta be super, super smart to get it. So once you get into that school, and that school, their way of teaching is not so much pressure, and that's why I really like that school. They really treat the kids as their own, and they try to help the kids to bring out their own potential. So they're focused on education, but not super focused on it because they understand that every kids have their own potential, right? So I kind of learned that, oh, okay, I guess I should like um, dial down my little stress thing and let my child be her own self and learn to figure herself out. And it's more a nurturing other than forcing them to fit a certain mold of the society. So after she got into that school, I just like, okay, well, she got into this school, so obviously she's smart. So I should just let her be. And then also like start thinking about like my childhood, how I was brought up. Like I said, my parents are not involved. Like I don't have a parents who was there every night telling me what to do. So I figure everything out on my own. I get good grades, survive high school and everything. So I was like, maybe that that's a good parenting thing, right? Like just hands off, stay away, and just be there whenever she needs. And yeah, and that's when I start to chill, and that's also actually around the same time I start researching about all this natural alternative ADHD treatment stuff, and my daughter was on a lot of like supplements back then, but it seems to work. Oh, okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, I will have to cut this short because someone just showed up. But anyway, so I kind of bumped down my expectations and just let my child be. And she thrived in this school perfectly okay. She graduated with honor. And then and I think when she was in junior year, when they take her SAT, no, is it SAT? I don't remember. Just forgive me. I think she take the SAT, no, whatever that test that she take to get into college. Okay, I'm not from here. Okay, so give me a, give me some space. Whatever test she took for getting into college, her score obviously was really high. So she got like accepted into a couple schools right off the bat with like huge scholarship. So but yeah, that's our story. She gets into, yeah, I just leave her alone, let her be, let her figure out her way. When she needs help, I'm there. We still uses tutors and stuff in between to help her, but she figured out her way. Growing up, when she was little, she's not a good reader. She can barely read, and I was like freaking out. So we have tutors most of her life to help her with the reading and the writing part. But anyway, so yeah, she got into this college, and we decided to pick Loyola Chicago. So she's graduating this year, so I'll probably post some update about her graduation, and then and I'll talk about what she's gonna be doing after her graduation. It's not like your traditional route. So okay, so I'm have to go now. So but very happy to see all of you here. And if you have any question, put it in the comment. I'll try to answer some question as much as I can. And if anything you're interested in that I talk about next time, give me some ideas, okay? Because like I said, I'm just randomly picking up topics every week. But after I get this all thing all dialed down, hopefully I'll have more of a schedule, then I can give you advance what we're going to talk about. Okay? All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much. You all have a wonderful day. Okay? Bye.